So, hi there. My name is Muhammad Azri. I am an Open University student. So, this is regarding the subject of environmental health practice regarding the Minamata disease. So, as you can see, the Minamata disease started from 1932 until 1968. So, the Minamata disease, the origin is from mercury. So you can see what is mercury. So mercury is a metal-like liquid. So it occurs naturally and exists in various forms. So it's like an element or metallic, and these forms all have different toxicities. And mercury is very toxic to human health and posing a particular threat to the development of the child in the uterus in early life. And mercury is liquid that vaporizes readily. So it ultimately settles in the sediment of lakes, rivers or bays where it is transformed into methyl mercury. So methyl mercury is the main cause of Minamata disease. So mercury poisoning and its effect to health. So what mercury can do to our body? So mercury is a toxic and very toxic to our central and nervous system. So it will affect our central and nervous system in a bad way. And the neurological and behavioral disorders may be observed after the inhalation and ingestion or dermal application of different mercury compounds. So it means that mercury have different compounds. So according to the article or research, different compounds can give different side effect. Children especially vulnerable and may be exposed directly by eating a contaminated fish. So when we consume, especially children, when we consume contaminated fish with methyl mercury, it can easily get into our body and affect our health. So the Minamata disease. So what is it? What is the Minamata disease? So as you can see in the map, the Minamata disease occur at Japan at Minamata Bay. So Minamata disease is also known as the Minamata disease. So it is a disease of central nervous system which caused by poisoning of mercury, because when the Chiso factory release mercury through their wastewater treatment into the Minamata Bay River, then the fish inside the river consume the methyl mercury, and then the fish catch by fishermen, taken and sell into the society, and the children and the adults in the village consume the fish contaminated, then they become poisoning with methyl mercury. So the causative agent is methyl mercury, which produced in the acetaldehyde acetic acid facility in Shinehon Chiso's Minamata factory. For your information, Chiso is the culprit behind the Minamata disease. It is a company that produces plastic. Move on to the health effect of Minamata disease. The symptoms. There are 6 symptoms that we can recognize to know either that person have Minamata disease or not. So the first symptom is ataxia, which is lack of muscle coordination for voluntary movement. And second, numbness in hands and feet. The third one is loss of peripheral vision. The fourth one is damage to hearing and speech. The fifth one is in extreme cases, the patient will go insane, paralysis, coma, and death follow within weeks of the onset of symptoms. And the sixth one, which is the last one, is congenital form of the disease can also affect fetus of the womb. Moving to the next, which is the environmental effect of Minamata disease. So there's a few environmental effects in Minamata disease, such as pollution of methyl mercury at Minamata Bay. So the food chain will be disrupted and damage to health of society, environmental pollution damage, and high cost of pollution control and preventive measures. It is paid, all the costs paid by Chiso Corporation Limited, which is the culprit behind the Minamata disease. And Minamata Bay reclaim land in order to deal with the concentration of mercury which is beyond 25 ppm. Cost estimated around 48.5 billion yen over 14 years. So legal action taken for Minamata disease. So the group of Minamata victims filed a lawsuit in 1969 against Chiso, alleging corporate negligence, and this trial lasted almost 4 years. Almost 4 years, all the victims can get the money or compensation from Chiso factory. So a former president of Chiso and supervisor of Minamata factory faced criminal proceeding in 1979 for causing death and serious bodily harm. They were sentenced for 2 years in prison. In 1995, the Japanese government proposed settlement plan to those who had not been certified with Minamata disease in exchange for them to drop their allegation. In April 2010, the Japanese government approved a measure to provide compensation to uncertified sufferers of Minamata disease. Moving to the next is on 31st March 2014, the Kumamoto District Court ordered the state, the Kumamoto Prefectural Government, and Chiso to pay yen 106 million damages to 3 uncertified sufferers who sued them. So as you can see in this picture, this is the reclaimed land of Minamata Bay, which cost 400 billion yen within 40 years of period to contain the mercury inside the bay. And this is the patient who suffers the Minamata disease. The mercury attack and damage their nervous system. So the special measures concerning relief for victims of Minamata disease and the solution to the problem of Minamata disease enacted in 2009. So there's a few legal and there's a few relief for individual victims proposed by the government of Japan. Moving to the next, how can we reduce and eliminate Minamata disease? So Chiso was ordered to switch back its wastewater drainage from Minamata River to Hyakin Harbour to speed up the installation of wastewater treatment system at the factory. After that, in 1968, Chiso finally stopped using mercury catalyst in the production. So there is no mercury using in the production of Chiso after 1968. During that time, there is no cure for Minamata disease. Only the treatment for victims, only to lessen their pain. So the removal of mercury from the patient body by using chelating agents. So what we can learn from Minamata disease? The citizens have learned that the food are essential to life and therefore invaluable, and that household and industrial waste should not be allowed to destroy the environment. Minamata disease tells us that human beings can be perpetrators as well as their victims. So the Minamata disease also tells us to coexist. Means whatever we do, we need to take into account or consider what kind of effect, either it's a good or bad effect to environment. Especially when we want to do a big project like factory that involve a toxic chemical, we need to consider that. How to prevent Minamata disease or same mercury poisoning that happened in Japan from happening in Malaysia? So we need to enforce the laws, regulations to combat this problem. Means the governments and the authority need to play their parts. And then we need to educate, especially all rural areas, society, the society, in order to prevent the outbreak. So there is so many things that we can learn from Minamata disease that happened in Japan, and we will try our best to prevent the same thing from happening and save our environment. So that's all for my presentation for the Minamata disease. I hope we can live a better and good life, and we can save our environment too. So the YouTube video link will be added later. Thank you. Arigato.